was a quiet morning. I drove to work at 3 a.m. There was not a soul in sight. However, 2 new souls would be born. Twins. The concept always fascinated me. 2 identical humans who led completely different lives. Though their DNA is the same, the soul is different. My life's work was to understand it. Not only to replicate the DNA, but to replicate the soul. I needed to do it. My research scared the scientific community. I was stripped of my titles and relegated to a family doctor. What a pathetic form of punishment. They may have gotten rid of that title, but not my degree. That is why I went back to that hospital. I knew what I needed to do. This was the 3rd child. He would be the one to finally make things tick. It would be my first success. I arrived at the hospital at 3:26 a.m. I was 4 minutes early to my shift. I did what I had to. A woman was going into labor, twins. It was a long and painful process, but by 7:51 a.m., 2 baby boys were born. Twins. Identical. Perfect. Both were immediately taken from their mother. Here I made my greatest sin. A lie that would haunt me forever. A necessary lie, but a lie nonetheless. I wish there was an easier way to go about it, but none such miracles presented themselves. I waited, I found the opportunity, and I took my chance. The official story is that there was a complication, but you and I know better. I still regret the method, but such things must be done in pursuit of progress. The mother cried. She cried as any mother would, but her tears dried quickly. She may have lost a child, but she still gained one. A bittersweet conclusion, a life most cherished. This one would be treated right, and loved twice as much. The mother's love eluded the other. Had she known it existed, she would have loved it. She still could, but she didn't. It is not her fault, nor is it his. It is but a result of my sin and the price for progress. I safely moved the child to my facilities. I was close, and with this one, I would finally reveal the key. But looking back, I wonder if it was worth it. My time is soon. If God exists, he'll surely have some notes. The devil and I will get along better anyway. I began constructing my first version of the machine in 2002. It was simple in its form. It did not aim to replicate the body, but the mind. After several years of tweaking, I finally had a prototype ready. I used it on the boy. I obtained a copy of the original and placed it in the other. This time, as I observed him, he gave the same responses. Not all of the time, but enough to conclude that it could have been the same person. I reverted him back to his initial state. He was confused. He retained artifacts of both lives. He was broken. I had broken him. This would come back to bite me. Though he had survived unlike the others, he was not without flaw. The body cannot contain 2 souls at once, or it begins to crack. I damaged the boy. I had to remove the excess, but the science of souls is not perfect. I took from both, the equivalent of 1 forged from 2. We do what we must for progress. By 2009, I had created a full cloning machine. This one not only copied the body, but the mind as well. It was a snapshot, but it had a weakness. Age would be a setback. A clone begins at the embryo, the first cell. The body is a cloning machine in a sense. DNA is a constant throughout the entire being. We needed a way to create clones at any age. or rather, to speed or reverse the passage of time to create a perfect copy. At least, that is what my benefactor wished. The family was pleased with my progress. They knew my results would take time, but they have finished their end of the bargain by getting me this far. Now all I needed to do was fight the powers of time. Not an easy task. Back to work I went. August 4th, 2013. I remember that day vividly. The morning was quiet, the air was calm. A certain nagging feeling crossed my mind, but I ignored it. I went about my day, I did my work, I made a minuscule breakthrough. Then I went to the boy. He wasn't there. I searched the complex for hours looking for where I could have scurried off to. Then I found the smoking gun. He wanted me to panic. He wanted me to search. He knew that I would. I went to my monitoring room, and there I saw my greatest fear. He had made contact. He wanted to replace the other. I couldn't let this happen. They shared at most 5 hours together. Enough time to be remembered, but not enough that it couldn't have been a dream. He would tell his parents what happened. What an imagination you have, they'd say. He would forget in time. A weirdly vivid dream is all it would be. We were safe for the time being. Once I retrieved the boy, I was less strict on him. I no longer had much use for him as a subject. But if he were to leave again, it would be the end of me. Instead, I began to teach him. I told him of the facility, I told him of my work, what it meant. He still showed animosity towards me, but that much should be expected. Though he did not like it, he became a great pupil for a time. He was useful. He did what he was told. He followed my instructions. That is all I could ask. But I still sensed his anger towards me growing. I had to put him in his place. By 2019, my progress was nearing completion. Without the proper vessel, the soul would break its shell. So I needed to crack the aging dilemma. I needed a way to produce a clone, as if it were a timestamp of a person's life. The soul could be taken, maybe even mixed around, and then placed in a copy as if nothing had happened. But I was close. My experimentation was working, but at a cost. I could feel myself aging as well. This was a nasty side effect, and one that I would not soon forget. The pandemic halted my progress. I was right there, I was so close. But it wouldn't be until 2022 that I made my first true clone. This clone would be perfect. It would be me. Except it would reflect my true age. I could continue my work and fully crack the code of aging. I could move forwards in the lifespan, but not backwards. I could only take from life, not give. But the clone could figure it out. The clone could do it. The clone would have to, because my time was about to run out. On December 13th, 2022, I died. It was an uneventful day. I poured my last ounce of life into my work, then passed at my desk. The clone was there. He gave me a solemn look that said everything I was thinking. This was not the end. Though this soul may burn out, an identical one would take its place and continue the work that this old body once did. Death eludes me now. I know not if I will ever truly die. Though my mortal shell fell that day, the clone made me anew. I remember every moment, but I know that it was not me. I cloned myself 6 or 7 times. Each clone had an issue. Each body was incomplete. I was running on borrowed time. The first few aged up to the correct level quickly, but they kept aging beyond that. Their lifespans were a month at most. I swapped between bodies like a ghost possessing new victims, and although it was still me, something felt off. I remembered my life, but I knew that it was not my own. I am the last of the clones, the final vessel. I pray that I'm enough. He challenged me today. He wished to fight me. The boy was no longer a boy. He was a man. He grew tired of running my errands and doing my work. He had been praying for me to die, and when I returned again, I saw nothing in his eyes. He had lost all hope. The last few months he stayed in his chambers. He rarely ate, but something changed. A fire was lit within him 3 weeks ago. It was when the last clone died. I fear what he is capable of. He has nothing to lose, and I have everything. I must not fail. My worst fears have been realized. He took my legs. I know that I'm responsible for this. This is the price I pay for my sin. I've barricaded myself within these walls for now, but I am not safe here. Only I know how to fix this. Please, listen to reason. The failsafe is in place. If someone uses the machine again, I will be back. I fear what he will do with me. My work cannot be lost. He knows how to operate it. I taught him everything. He will be the key to his own undoing. I'm sorry for what I've wrought upon this cursed world. Anything for progress.